Several hundred cross-border e-commerce sellers started a collective protest on July 22nd. They gathered at the office location of Temu, Pinduoduo's cross-border e-commerce business, in Aoyuan Building, Panyu District, Guangzhou, protesting against Pinduoduo's arbitrary deductions and penalties. An e-commerce seller loudly said,
"We are victims."
How much have you been deducted?
5 million.
How much have you been deducted?
1 million.
According to someone who used to work at Temu, the man sitting in the car is the head of Temu. What you're doing is illegal. Do you think this approach we're taking will work?
First, get the accounts right for me.
Mr. Wang, sitting in the car, said,
Whether it's illegal or not is determined by the law. But I think if you express your demands this way, there's nothing we can do.
What do you mean there's nothing you can do?
You're restricting my personal freedom.
No, we're not. We just want answers. Since you've recorded our statements, you should give us an explanation, right? How are you going to handle this? We're not doing anything to you. You can't just act indifferent and walk away every time, treating us like we don't matter. Right, Mr. Wang?
Go back to your business, all right?
Mr. Wang's attitude made the protesting sellers even angrier. A man said,
What business? How dare you talk about doing business? You're scammers, not business people.
Mr. Wang remained dismissive, and the sellers said they would go to the company to check the accounts. A blogger with 14,000 followers who worked at Pinduoduo for over 4 years also commented on the situation.
The number of sellers gathering under the Aoyuan International Building in Panyu, Guangzhou is increasing. There are already several hundred people on the scene. It looks like this overseas platform is in big trouble this time. Sellers have been fined anywhere from tens of thousands to millions. The rumored billions in penalties are true.
On July 28th, a large number of Temu sellers who were fined returned to Temu's office to protest again. You can hear someone in the video shouting, "They're hitting people! They're hitting people!" Many sellers sat on the floor of Temu's office, demanding a resolution. Someone said,
Temu is pulling off a scam. Just get your leader out here. Get your legal representative out here. We are the victims.
So, what caused so many cross-border e-commerce sellers to protest? By looking at Pinduoduo and Temu's operating model and system, you might find the answer. Low prices are Temu's most important weapon for quickly capturing the market. Achieving low prices is closely related to Temu's full management model. Temu has the final say on product pricing, and they earn revenue from sales. The costs include procurement, fulfillment, logistics, and marketing. In the full management model, sellers only need to supply the goods, while pricing, sales, fulfillment, and after-sales are handled by the platform. This means Temu is the sole controller, holding the core powers of product selection, pricing, listing, and sales. Temu sellers are not full participants in the e-commerce model. While they have their own stores on the website, they are merely suppliers.
Temu settles with you for each order sold. You only have a sales record in the back end showing how many you sold today, but it won't show the final transaction amount or the number of orders sold. You can see online that Pinduoduo's selling prices are very high, so the difference between Pinduoduo's selling price and your quoted price is very high, and that profit goes to Pinduoduo.
Temu sellers are relatively weak, while the platform holds comprehensive power over product operations, traffic distribution, and price control. During its expansion, Temu uses this centralized power to quickly penetrate the market and capture customers. Moreover, in disputes, Temu tends to favor consumers. Besides the refund-only policy, in most cases, the platform's customer service sides with the consumers to ensure a good shopping experience. This means that if consumers are not satisfied, Temu acts as a biased enforcer, making sellers bear the costs and accept fines from Temu. Recently, Temu updated its seller service agreement. For certain products deemed to have quality issues, Temu can impose fines up to 5 times the product amount. If the same product is returned 5 times within 15 days, an additional 1,000 yuan per item is imposed. While penalizing quality issues is reasonable, sellers find the 5-fold penalty too high. Since many sellers operate with low prices, partly due to platform rules, they often have to focus on low-priced items, which usually means lower quality. Additionally, the platform's criteria for determining product quality issues are sometimes unreasonable. The video titled "Collection of Scams" lists the pitfalls of Temu, with fines being one of the most significant issues.
最让我恶心的一个问题就是罚款赔付的问题。
The most disgusting issue for me is the fines. There's a saying that Temu's profits depend on how much they can fine you.
The seller mentioned that they were fined by Temu after a customer gave a poor review because the Pinduoduo warehouse staff didn't include the wheels and lid when shipping a children's suitcase.
But what I want to say is, why am I being fined? I sent the suitcase with the lid and wheels, all packaged properly, and it passed their quality inspection before being listed. The warehouse staff made the mistake of not including all the parts when shipping it to the customer. This responsibility should lie with the warehouse staff, with the platform, not with me as the seller. Why am I the one being fined after the customer complains? If it were a quality issue, I would accept the fine. But missing parts are the platform's fault. It's disgusting that the platform fines me for this, and I've complained many times with no resolution. The fine notice only shows the fined product and the fine amount, without explaining the reason. So, I don't even know why I'm being fined. I can only guess that it's due to a customer complaint, and that the fine is 5 times the amount, based on the platform's standard of multiplying the declared price by 5. This makes my fines very high.
Other sellers have also reported that if customers return items due to personal reasons, like buying the wrong size, Temu still fines the sellers, treating these returns as quality issues. Recently, Temu introduced a policy allowing refunds without returning the item. Some sellers not only had their products taken advantage of, but also received large fines from the platform due to frequent refunds. Additionally, an alleged insider revealed that Temu employees' performance is linked to the fines imposed on sellers. While the authenticity of this claim is hard to verify and could be a rumor, some sellers have reported that Temu's buyers and warehouse staff are very proactive in issuing fines. For instance, on Chinese social media Xiaohongshu, some sellers complained that when they had inventory issues with items stored in Temu's warehouse, returns were processed one by one instead of in bulk, incurring unnecessary extra shipping costs. They suspect warehouse staff have a KPI, key performance indicator, for the number of returns processed. KPI is a metric used to evaluate an employee's performance based on quantifiable data, helping companies measure and manage the effectiveness of projects, teams, and individual employees. Moreover, Temu's penalties for inventory have left many sellers frustrated. The recent update to Temu's one-stop comprehensive warehousing service agreement requires sellers to re-sign, and some have noticed a clause for penalties related to self-pickup and delivery delays. If goods are unsold and stored in Temu's warehouse beyond the designated time, a storage delay fee of 500 yuan per day will be charged. If the delay exceeds 7 days, Temu has the right to destroy or dispose of the goods and charge a processing fee. This means that if you're a Temu seller and your goods remain in the warehouse for more than 7 days, you lose ownership of the goods and incur additional fees. This has led some sellers to nickname Temu's warehouse the e-commerce Somalia. One netizen jokingly remarked that any seller who manages to operate a store on Pinduoduo is a true warrior.
在拼多多上能开得了店的商家都是勇士，是真的勇。
Opening a store on Pinduoduo exposes you to various fines far exceeding those of other e-commerce platforms, making you question your life choices. Just try it if you don't believe me. On this exploitative platform, they start by deducting a basic service fee as soon as someone makes a payment, regardless of the reason. Even if the customer changes their mind, the fee is non-refundable. Then, they find every possible way to fine the sellers. They impose fines for no-reason returns, calling it customer appeasement money. They deduct your money, make you pay for return shipping even if the item was used, and find any excuse to deduct at least half of the product's value. If an item is out of stock and a refund is issued, you still get fined. If there's no shipping information within 24 hours, it's considered a false shipment, and you get fined 25% of the order value. Even after the 7-day no-reason return period, customers can still request returns indefinitely. Additionally, your funds are restricted, preventing you from withdrawing. In short, they make it impossible to run your store smoothly.
Pinduoduo is a mobile e-commerce shopping platform established in Shanghai by Shanghai Xunmeng Information Technology Company in September 2015. It allows users to place orders with sellers or manufacturers through group buying to obtain significant discounts. By 2018, roughly 3 years after its launch, Pinduoduo had over 200 million users, with a gross merchandising volume, GMV, exceeding 100 billion yuan. Its daily order volume was the second highest in mainland China, only behind Taobao. Data shows that it took Alibaba and JD.com 10 and 6 years respectively to surpass the 100 billion yuan GMV milestone. In January 2018, Alibaba released its 2017 intellectual property annual report, noting that sellers of counterfeit and shoddy goods were shifting to platforms like WeChat and Pinduoduo. There was a widespread belief in the market that Pinduoduo's rise signified a consumption downgrade. Some even argued that while Alibaba spent a decade combating counterfeit goods, these products were making a comeback through Pinduoduo, representing not just a downgrade, but a complete regression in consumer behavior. Despite the prevalence of knockoff products on Pinduoduo, many people still happily purchase low-cost and sometimes knowingly counterfeit items due to China's large population and significant income disparity. However, the proliferation of counterfeit products has not stopped Pinduoduo from issuing fines for substandard quality. Other reasons for fines include delayed shipments and inadequate after-sales service. Nonetheless, the platform has the final say in defining substandard and inadequate, putting sellers in a very passive position. Chinese media reported that some sellers said, "We know it's competitive, but we can't beat it, so we have to join it. Many of our friends are doing it grudgingly." Due to different market environments overseas, with stronger consumer protection laws and higher return costs, Temu enforces strict fines and pricing policies to mitigate its risks. Temu's pricing mechanism works roughly as follows. Firstly, initial pricing is benchmarked against similar products on Alibaba, with about a 20% profit margin. Temu then continuously monitors the platform, prompting sellers to lower prices if it finds cheaper similar products. Secondly, for single items that see a rapid increase in sales after being listed, Temu actively seeks out other factory sellers to obtain lower factory pricing, using this as a benchmark to require original sellers to lower their prices. In both cases, if sellers refuse to lower prices, they face reduced traffic and order volume. If sellers continue to resist, their related products may be delisted. Faced with such unequal treaties, some may say that Temu's updated penalty clauses are unreasonable and that sellers can simply leave the platform, so why do they endure the high fines? On the one hand, Temu holds sellers' security deposits in its back end. On the other hand, compared to other platforms, Pinduoduo doesn't require deliberate shop management or maintaining shop followers, saving sellers significant marketing costs. Nowadays, for those looking to venture into cross-border e-commerce, Temu is an unavoidable option. Since its launch in September 2022, Temu has expanded to 53 sites overseas, covering North America, Europe, Southeast Asia, the Middle East, Africa, Japan, Korea, and Oceania. From January to November 2023, its GMV was about $16 billion. In terms of traffic, by November 2023, Temu had 150 million monthly active users, a 9.6% increase from the previous month, nearing the user levels of Shein. Users spent an average of 837 seconds per day on Temu, surpassing Amazon. The sales figures are even more impressive. In the first half of 2024, Temu's sales amounted to about $20 billion, surpassing the entire year of 2023. In the second quarter alone, GMV was around $12 billion, with the US market accounting for about 45%. Temu's rapid growth to this scale in less than 2 years is truly rare. This has also attracted attention from foreign media. In a March article by the Financial Times, serious doubts were raised about Pinduoduo. On the day of the article's release, Pinduoduo's stock fell by 3.87%. The article posed several questions. When comparing employee numbers and R&D expenditures, why does Pinduoduo resemble a small company? Why do competitors almost never mention Pinduoduo's impact as if it doesn't exist? Why do its balance sheet metrics not match its revenue? Why does a company with a market value of over $100 billion only have physical assets worth less than $150 million? All these questions culminate in a larger issue. Why do U.S. investors have such confidence in this opaque company company with inconsistent financials. Compared to other e-commerce platforms of similar scale, Pinduoduo's employee numbers challenge all assumptions about e-commerce logistics. Last year, it had 12,992 employees, an order of magnitude fewer than Alibaba, while Amazon has 1.5 million employees. Alibaba invests $5 billion annually in property and equipment, including maintaining 1,100 warehouses, whereas Pinduoduo only has $146 million in physical assets, mainly office equipment, IT hardware, and software. Pinduoduo claims to have $2.5 billion in cash, even though it has invested heavily in Temu's expansion. In 2020 and 2021, it sold $2 billion worth of goods, yet its financial statements did not disclose any inventory or cost of goods sold, which are standard retail accounting items. After the founder left in 2021, things became even stranger. Pinduoduo, after losing 27 billion yuan, about $4.2 billion over 3 years, suddenly reported a profit of 2.4 billion yuan, about $380 million, in the second quarter of 2021. There were inconsistencies in the financial statements. In a recent quarter with a surge in performance, the growth rate of marketing services was roughly the same as since mid-2021, about 40% year-on-year. However, the growth rate of transaction fee revenue during the same period was more than 3 times that of marketing services. Given the transaction fee rate reported in 2021, this represented an incredible growth, making the scale of its PDD ecosystem twice that of Alibaba, comparable to Italy's annual GDP of $2.2 trillion. Finally, Pinduoduo does not have a chief financial officer. Since its IPO in 2018, the company has appointed its 4th vice president of finance. Accompanying these doubts is the fact that Temu's momentum in the U.S. market has shown signs of decline. According to a Morgan Stanley research report, by the end of 2023, the number of households shopping on Temu continued to decrease, down about 20% compared to September 2023, with future purchase intentions also lower than most discount retailers or e-commerce platforms they surveyed. Indeed, heavy promotion is a good strategy for gaining rapid momentum in the early stages, but in the context of global competition, the sustainability of the business model is the most important consideration.